Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show with my celebrity co-host back to wrap up season 2, the one, the only, the bombshell herself, Miss Jessica Javens. Jessica, what's up?
I am so happy to be here, guys. Look at this. I have the best pack right here. I love seeing Jose. Dallas came over, and I'm with you, Andre, and it's all because of you. So I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you.
Before we introduce our guests, let's talk a little bit about you're getting ready to wrap up season 2. What's that been like for you? Such an extraordinary journey. You started with season 1. You know, you was kind of a little timid. Now you're bringing that Brazilian flavor. What's season 2 all about for you?
So much learning. I would say the highlights for me is one of the best things in life is just to keep learning, because that's how you keep sharp and you keep engaged and you keep excited about life. The second thing are the people that I've met. That is the sweetest thing ever. It's just amazing just to meet so many different people with amazing stories and what they were able to do with their lives and what they're up to right now and connecting with them. Oh my gosh, that's the best.
Like, who's been the most surprising guest for you so far with the closing out or finishing up of season 2? I know you got Dallas, so you got to bring his name up. You got Jose, so I know you got to bring them up. If not, they're going to just say, forget this episode.
I don't know if I know the answer for that. That's not fair. It's like, it's not easy, but I can tell you this. I love the diversity of it all. I was just telling Dallas before we started, that's why I live in South Florida too, and Jose too. It's the diversity, and I love that. So in my show, I'm talking to doctors, I'm talking to athletes, I am talking to mothers, I am talking to gynecologists, I'm talking to TV people, musicians, artists. So many different backgrounds, so many different brains and experiences. And the best is that most of them have a wonderful mindset. I love that.
Nothing like that wonderful mindset. Let me tell you where we're about to go today with today's show. Talk about that wonderful mindset. Let me tell you about this young man that's sitting to the side of you. When it comes to the word baseball, that's the first person I think about when I think baseball. And the reason why, not only because the fact that he's in Indiana, he's a great friend of mine, but when I heard the name Dallas Clark and I did my research, everything about him showed determination, a growth mindset, the ability to mentor. That's what really shocked me. And when I met him, he was doing exactly that, mentoring young upcoming athletes in baseball, not only just teaching them the fundamentals of the game, but more importantly, how to treat it like a business, to realize that there's more to life after baseball. And let's go with our next guest on here as well, which is Arez. This young man came out of the womb with a baseball in his hand, a glove, and a bat. It's never left him. And it was only fitting to bring these two guys together. So today, all we're going to do is talk about that growth mindset, about baseball, how baseball actually impacted both of these individuals, these young men's lives. So let's get right down to business. Let's welcome to the show, first and foremost, the one, the only, Mr. Baseball himself, Dallas Williams. What's up, Dallas?
How you doing, Andre? Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Just meeting this young lady has been a great experience for me already, and I'm looking forward to participating in your show.
I appreciate it. Before we get started, Dallas, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are before we get deep into your story, and then we'll do the same with Arez.
Okay, well, my name is Dallas Williams, obviously, from Brooklyn, New York. A lot of people ask, what are you doing in Indianapolis?
It's the greatest city in the world.
Well, second. Brooklyn is the first. But Indianapolis is where I met my wife when I was playing for the Indianapolis Indians back in '83. And we've been married for 41, going on 42 years next month.
Congratulations.
So I've learned to love Indianapolis, raised my kids here, great friends still in my life. Lost a couple. Have a good friend, William Moore, who I spend a lot of time with. We talk baseball, football, basketball. So it's just home for me, and I'm just glad to be a part of the city.
I appreciate that. Now let's go over to Mr. T. Arez. T, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are before we get into our question and answer.
Well, I'm a baseball player at heart. I've been playing baseball since I was 7 years old. Not up there with Dallas. I didn't get to make it to the show. I did play with a lot of the big leaguers, but I didn't make it that far. But all the lessons that I've learned in baseball, I've brought it into the entrepreneurial realm, and that's helped me big time just grow my businesses, and it's helped me learn how to work with people. So it's been a very good tool to have, to be a baseball player and know that if you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're an all-star. So and that is I'm sure you know all about failing and getting back up. So that's the biggest part of what I think baseball teaches you, how to get up after you fall.
Let me ask you guys a question. We mentioned falling, we mentioned baseball and how it changed both of you guys. But Dallas, what was your journey into baseball? Like, how did it come to you? Like, usually in America, we get introduced into all kind of sports as children, like football. I was more introduced into football than I was, baseball, then track and field and so forth. When did baseball become your passion?
The only thing I can really remember is watching baseball as a kid in Brooklyn, New York, in the Kiwanis Projects with my grandfather. We were diehard Met fans, and we'd sit up there and watch the games, and that's how I learned how to play. I had a good friend who's passed, rest his soul, Nathaniel, who I grew up with, and he was a baseball player at heart as well. Not to the level of my achievements, but we played baseball as much as we could. Back in Brooklyn, there wasn't many baseball fields, especially for black kids. We had to play on concrete. Softball was really where I started learning the game. My brother, who passed away, Charles Mickey Williams, he would take me to watch him play, and I just fell in love with the game, just watching and trying to emulate him. So, I tried to do what he did, and it just so happened that I did a little better. So that's how I got my start in the game, and just kept going after that.
T, what about you? What's your story? How did it? We know a little bit because we had you on one of the episodes. We know you came out with a baseball. Your mom said, "Here you go," but it goes deeper than that. Tell a little bit about how baseball was introduced to you.
My family is a baseball family, so they come from Cuba, and that's basically the main sport in Cuba. And when I was little, they took me to my first baseball game. The Orioles had their spring training camp in Miami. So I think it was called Miami Stadium, Bobby Maduro Stadium. It's changed names. They knocked down the stadium already. But I remember going to that first game. I was a little kid. I had the Orioles against the Yankees, and basically I fell in love with just seeing the game live and seeing the fans, and then having I was, when I went to go see him, I think it was like Cal Ripken was there. You had a lot of like big time major leaguers that were super popular, and it was just a joy when we got there just to see them live. It wasn't like in Miami, you didn't have, baseball wasn't televised. So I don't know about in Brooklyn, if you guys had the Mets, you had the Mets that you could see. We didn't have a team in Miami. So in Miami, it was whoever came in, and either you were a Yankee fan at that point or Orioles fan. But my team in the beginning was the Orioles, because I just didn't like that everybody liked the Yankees. So I kind of became an Oriole fan just because of that. But it's just seeing the game live and then following it, like kind of like what Dallas had, that you had your parents around and you were like seeing the games and I remember seeing the All-Star games, the World Series. I mean, Willie Stargell. I mean, I could start naming all these all-star, games, and you seeing Pete Rose. And I mean, I'm younger than Dallas, but I never got to see the Cincinnati Reds, only at the end. But there's some great series that happened there. So I enjoyed and I learned that I loved the game once I started seeing it. I fell in love with it. So, that's the way I.
Let me ask you guys a quick question. Just I'm gonna let you ask some questions too. You mentioned something that was really profound, T. You mentioned that when you started to age, there was no professional baseball in the Florida regions. And I think the first team was probably the Florida Marlins, maybe?
Yeah.
Major League.
Yes.
So this is a question for both of you guys, and we'll start with you, Dallas, and then you have T chime in. Opportunity. Was the fact that you did have accessibility to the network of in a hometown team, was that a better advantage for you as far as knowledge, skill, and personnel versus what he went through? What's your take on that?
You know what? If I can go back for one
go right ahead.
T was talking about growing up in Miami and going to watch the Orioles. There's a good chance, depending on the year, that he saw me in uniform, because my first full season team was the Miami Orioles.
No way.
I doubt if you were born. I played in Miami in 1977. Played in the Florida State League. So I went to Miami Stadium. It was still there on 10th Street. Obviously I'll never forget that. But we had spring training in Biscayne College, later St. Thomas College. So I know the history of Miami baseball because I was there.
Was it a better advantage for you though as you start to develop your career? Because like you said, there was no teams there, so nobody's going to really look for him unless it's on a college level. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you used to be a scout, so we'll talk about that too. Like I'm pretty sure there wasn't a lot of major league scouters going down to Florida by the time he was talking about to showcase any talent. So because you were from New York, did you feel that you had a better? Was the leverage in the pieces stacked more in your favor than it would have been for him?
You know what? I would respectfully disagree with you because in New York, you had the cold weather. Right. We only had a couple, 2-3 months that we could play baseball outside. So growing up in Florida was a great advantage for baseball players. I would venture to say that there's more major leaguers that came out of Florida than New York.
Really?
So they had the opportunities because of the conditions, the fields. Baseball was played all around the state of Florida. So he had more of an opportunity to play. Right. I saw baseball on TV because of the Mets and the Yankees.
Right.
But, my physical opportunities to go play was a lot less than T. So
what do you say about that, T?
Yeah, I agree. I remember I had no idea that we had that much advantage until I went to college and we played a team. It was a university in like New Jersey, and we were talking, and they were telling us that their batting practice was basically inside a gym, and it was like with wiffle balls. It wasn't even with like a real baseball or anything. And they had to learn the sport either, like you said, on a basketball court, or in the street or in the gym. And, I was shocked at that point saying, man, you really haven't been able to play? And it's because it's been snowing so long there and it's been so cold that they haven't been able to get outside. So the first time they ever touched a real ball, on the outside was playing against us that the practice games before your season starts. So yeah, I agree. In Florida, you do have an advantage that you're playing all the time. The only thing is that when I was born in 72, so I might have seen you, Dallas, play there, because I remember I could have been, if you played in that stadium. I went to that stadium. My parents would take me, so I probably did see you play. And but that's the only time we really had a chance to see somebody play. Other than that, either you had something on TV, maybe that you were watching a game, but you didn't have a home team because you didn't have anybody in Miami. But yeah, I think the advantage in Florida, it has a big part of it, and I agree with Dallas on that one.
What are some of the? Let me not be rude. I keep forgetting we have the beautiful Jessica Javens here. Jessica, any questions?
What do you mean to keep forgetting?
Any questions for the guy?
All 6'1" of me.
Yeah.
I do, but I am totally about the mind. So that's my question. It's about the mind. So my first question is, what is the one or maybe two things that you would credit the reason why you were successful at this? And then what was the most difficult part of that career in your life? So those two questions I would like to hear from both of you.
Well, I know the mindset of my playing baseball. I just love to play. There was nothing, no rhyme or reason or no magical moment that I can say that, okay, this is when I want to play. I remember watching baseball from the beginning, and I loved watching it and wanted to take it out to the field. Like T said, we didn't have that many opportunities, to go out there and play. So we had to keep it in our mind that when we got out there to have the opportunity to play, that we were going to do exactly what we saw the major league players do on TV. So that was the advantage that I had, was being able to watch on TV, unlike T, and then going out and trying to emulate those guys that I watched.
So correct me if I'm wrong here. I understand that one of the keys of your success in this field is you loving it.
Absolutely, 100%. If you don't love the game, like T said about the failures, the 3 out of 10 times you're good, 7 out of 10 you're not doing too well. So
ST, what do you think about your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is for most of my life, I thought that if I have a job, I need to be grateful. I don't need to love it. And that's why I wanted to come down to this. So how about you, Jose? How did it work for you? What is the most or the key for you to being successful?
I think for sure the love of the game is where it starts. But and then when you start moving up, because once you and Dallas could justify this, when you're in, let's say in high school, you're the best in that school, you're the best basically maybe in that whole district. But then when you start moving up, you start playing the best of the best of the best. So it doesn't matter. Your story is just as similar to the guy next to you, and your 1% might be better than this guy. So Dallas might have been 1% better than the other guy next to him, and that 1% was so much bigger. It might have been a 50%, but everybody's so close in how good you are that you start you start learning that, man, I need to be perfect. Once you get to that certain stage, and you're like, man, I don't have the advantage that I used to have, that I could kind of like mess up and I still did good. Here, you got to be good. You got to be on point all day, every day. You have somebody coming in that's again the best of the best. So I think in that aspect, your mind really has to be well situated, because you got to forget and have short-term memory and forget how you did the last play and move on. Because if not, you're done. You're done for. Because if you take it to the next stage, then you might make an error. If you're playing, infield, or you might strike out again. So, you got to always start looking into how do I forget about what happened, and mentally, bring it back and concentrate and be that, and just make it happen.
How do you guys, you mentioned something, that's what any That's with any sport. It's next man up. It's when you go from middle school to junior high to high school and you get to college, you realize that, like you said, Jose, everybody is one step away. So with that said, now you're in a different level now. It's just like me being a professional bodybuilder. I can't go back to amateur. Everybody's good at that professional level. And it's only one point that separates you from the other person. It could be, I might have thought I dieted just as much as the next guy, but you know what? The judges said different. How do you guys level up when everybody at that level is just as good as you?
That was my question. I can't wait.
Yeah, well, the first thing is you don't think about that.
I like the way you be saying. So you be like, I don't.
You go out there and you play, and if the next guy's better than you, then that's the way it is. But I never went on the field saying, "Man, this guy's really good. I got to watch." No, I'm on the field with you, and I'm going to compete, and we're going to see what happens after that.
That's very powerful.
You never bow down to the next guy. I'm sure Jose said the same thing, even at the level he was at. You just go out there and play the game and say, I'm going to do what I can do and forget about if something happened bad and just keep it moving.
And not compare to somebody else.
Who did? Jose, we forgot about you. I'm going to still address this same question to you. I had my rivals who are now my friends. We all do. We all have our rivals. Who were some of your rivals? Because you're all good. We're men. We have that I'm just as good as you. I'm here. We all here for this opportunity. But you have your rivals. What was it like for you? Who was your biggest, not fear or anything like that, but who was your rival that you said, I'm gonna show this dude? He really think he's got me against the wall?
Well, I guess my rival would be an Al Bunbury, who played center field for the Orioles. I said, I'm gonna get up there and take your job. So I made him my rival because you had to reach for something higher than where you were. So I didn't look at any other guy saying, okay, you're going to beat me out. I'm going to get you. So I'm going to look to take your job. And that's what my rival was, anyone that was in the big leagues in my position. They all were.
T, let's ask you the same question. How did you level up when everybody is just as good? And then the second part of that question, who was your rival? Who basically got on your nerves?
So say that. What was the first question again?
How did you level up when everybody on the field, you all are major leaguers? Like you said, everybody is sharing the same story now.
What I tried to do was I tried to get that extra ground ball. After practice, I would try to get there and catch them extra ground balls, hit a little more, trying to get that edge on top of somebody else. But I was, like Dallas says, I was just trying to play the game to the best of my ability, and I wasn't really worrying about the other guy. Going into like who your rival was, if you started thinking too much who your rival is, then you were getting into your head, and then you're really not going to play how you really want. But you do have that us baseball players. We're superstitious. We always, if we had a great game and we ate Burger King, a double cheeseburger, I was going to go eat a double cheeseburger again in the next game. But my rival was trying, I would think, I'm going to get that guy, but yet you knew that you had to do your job. So how do you beat that guy was, making sure that you were perfect. So, and I had the situation that I had two guys in front of me playing second base, and, and I just waited it out. I just made sure I knew that those guys were going to make an error. Those guys were going to make a mistake. And when they let me in, oh, that's it. It was lights out. There's no way you're taking me out of that game again. And in the lineup. So that's what I did was I tried to stay ready. So when it was my turn, there's no way you could take me out. So, the rivalry was making sure you didn't get in your head and making sure that you stayed focused, because once it's your turn, it's either you make it or you don't.
Go ahead.
I love what he said. This is so important. Even
Ain't you
if
glad
it's
you're
not.
sitting in that seat now?
Yeah,
You didn't want to sit
absolutely.
there first.
I know. And the athletes have one of the biggest lessons for everybody else, so this is amazing. I love what Jose just said, that while he was waiting, he was preparing himself.
Right.
So I don't care where you are in your life, what your profession is or what you chose, what you do in the quiet or where nobody's looking, that's what counts.
I'm going to ask this question. And we've all gone through this as athletes. What was the most disappointing moment of your career that you think about? I can remember, I'm going to use myself as an example. The North America Bodybuilding Championships, I had trained like no outdoors for that show. I was prepared. Everything was on point. The meal prep, the whole 9 yards. And I get there and I didn't read the instructions good, the registration form. It was in kilos. So I go there, I'm 180. No, I was 174 pounds, but I look like about 190. I go to weigh in, and the president of the bodybuilding organization says, "Hey, Dre, how you doing? You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know how you do the press conference there. All the bodybuilders are there, and I'm take my clothes off." And he says, "Such and such and such, you're a pound over." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "You're a pound over." So I said, "It's supposed to be 174 and a quarter and a half." He says, "No, Dre, it's kilos. It's blah 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 blah. You have to the end of the day, to the women weigh in, to drop that weight." I can't drop that weight, dude. I'm already ripped to shreds. I got no more water. But anyway, long story short, I had to make a decision on, do I compete in the class that they said I'm in now, because I can't go down, and then what are my disadvantages? Disadvantages was I got to give away more muscle mass because I got to go up in a weight class. You see what I'm saying? That was very, very heart-wrenching for me. I basically lost it. I wound up still placing. Then the second part of this was in Cincinnati at the Junior Nationals, where I washed out endorsing a product. And wash out means that the tanning oil basically hid all the cuts. And when I got off of stage, I remember the Jim Mannion came up to me and some other guys and said, "Andre, what happened?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It was like, "Man, you look like you were smooth as a baby's ass." And I'm looking at my body going, "Dude, you got to be kidding." And they look and they said, "Well, what did you put on?" And I told them, I said, "Don't ever use that shit again." I made the cut because my name was on the board. But when I came back, that had such a psyche on me, because that was the first time that I've never placed in the top 5. It made me stronger going into the rest of finishing out my career. But it humbled me. And I'm not saying I was arrogant. What I mean by humble is that I had to go back and reflect on myself and say, I'm not the only one that this could have happened to, because it had never happened to me before. So my question to you guys is, name 2 moments of your life in this that this has happened to you as athletes.
Well, I don't know if I can get to that level, but I guess one of the biggest disappointments for me was being told by the Cincinnati Reds in 1983, after having one of the best spring trainings I could possibly have, is that I'm being sent down to the minor leagues, back down in Indianapolis. I'm glad I did, because I met my wife. But that was one of the most crushing moments of my life, is being told that you're not going to make this team because we just went and traded for 2 other guys, and one is in your position and just going to send you down. So getting cut or released is hard for at any level, but at the major league level, that really tore me apart. And just like Jose was saying, you had to forget about that and keep it moving. It took me a little bit to get it going, and I wound up having a pretty mediocre start. I woke back up and got called back up to Cincinnati later in that year, but that was probably the most disappointing moment for me in the game.
How long did it take you to to get that mojo back? Because I know for me, there was no giving up. I think it made me that more determined to say I'm never going to have this shit happen to me again.
Yeah. Well,
How long did it take you to get back?
a couple weeks after they sat me down, I struggled so bad. They put another guy out there, and I can remember getting back up to get an opportunity. I got a pinch hit, and then I just kept going from there. I woke up and said, "Hey, man, I can either sulk and feel sorry for myself, or I can get back out there and do what I need to do." And that's what I did. It took me about 2-3 weeks, I would say.
2-3 weeks. Gee, what about yourself?
I hear Dallas, and I'm like, I think of him being in the majors, coming back down, and man, that must be rough, especially that you've been up there, and then they try to replace you with a guy that you for sure think you're better than them, and plus if you had a great year, that's rough, and that mentally that'll mess with you. I remember when I was in high school, I had my senior year, I messed up my lower back. So I didn't perform as good as I did. Like my junior year, I was that was at one point, like top 3 in Dade County hitting. So I was crushing it. I was up there. There was, you remember Alex Fernandez? He was a pitcher for the Marlins. He was a great hitter, and he was like up there. He was like number 1 in Dade County, and I was right behind him. I remember, playing against all these guys, and when I was going to move up to go to the college, I wasn't getting looked at as much because my senior year I pulled my back, so I had to prove myself all over again. And I had to walk on to college and just try to figure out if they could see that I was talented enough to play there. And, I just had to work my way up. That's the time that I made the team with 2 other guys in front of me. And I was just waiting for that opportunity to get back up. So it was hard because you had this problem in your back that wouldn't go away. Nobody could figure out how to get that stress away from it. And eventually it started getting better. And then I was, again, waiting for that time to move in. But it's just rough. It's rough. It's hard to see that you're so much better than what you're performing. And then sometimes, it's an up and down thing. And how you got to think about it is nothing's as good as it seems, nothing's as bad as it seems, but somewhere in the middle reality falls, and that's where you got to stay even keel in baseball in order for you not to be so high, not to be so low, because it'll mess with your head. And so I always thought of that when I was young.
Before we get ready to wrap up, you guys have had such a stellar career in baseball, and I like the fact that you guys have now shown that there is life after baseball. There is life after being a great athlete. What are some of the things that you miss the most right now, and what are some of the things that you are now looking back and saying, you know what, I did have a great career, but you know what, I'm enjoying my career right now too?
Well, as you know, I'm just finished wrapping up another season in Mexico, where we won the championship in the Mexican League.
Congratulations, man! You win all kind of championships.
I've been in the game since basically '76.
Yeah.
So I really haven't had the chance to sit back and say, what did I do that I really remember? You know what I mean? So I was like, when I get home, I'm going to take it easy. You asked me earlier before we got on the air, was I going to do any lessons? Hell no. I'm going to sit back and chill, hang out with my wife, do some traveling, and just kind of reflect and just make a decision if I want to go back. So, I'm still basically in the game, and I don't know if Jose is, but I still have to keep it moving like I'm in the game until I finish.
I got you. Jose, what about you? You're young. You got your own business. I mean, what's life like after baseball for you?
I have no regrets. I left it all on the field, and I went the opposite route. I didn't stay in baseball because I kind of, I don't know. It was like everybody I would see. This is, I guess, I don't know why I had this in my mind, but I would have always coaches coming back and, oh, this guy played in the minor leagues, but he's back coaching here in in the little league and whatever. And then I kind of like, I don't know, I didn't want to do what everybody else is doing, so I kind of went on a different route, and I just tried to open up businesses and try to figure out how to be successful in something else. But I've never regretted playing baseball, and baseball's taught me so much. And I see a lot of my friends that they're still in it. They're coaching, they're doing all these things for the kids. But since I feel like now that I have kids, I'll be more into it. But my coaching wasn't there. I didn't have that fever for coaching. And I could teach people one-on-one, but the coaching thing really wasn't up my alley. So I kind of went in the entrepreneurial venture, which that's where I am still. So,
Okay.
but again, baseball has taught me so much, and I've met so many people in the sport, and just the mindset it put me in was just amazing.
Let me ask you guys another question real quick. Then Jessica, I have you ask a question. We'll wrap it up. What is it? You guys both come from different eras of the game. What have you seen change? And then I ask T, what's changed the game? What has changed, and what do you need to? What do we need in the game, and what has changed since you started playing? And then Jose, I ask you the same question.
Well, me personally, when I watch the game, I'd like to see more diversity. When I played, there were 5, 6, 7 blacks and Latinos on the field. Now it's not like that anymore. I'd like to see more diversity, more black coaches, more black managers. That was on the way of going up when I was in the coaching era, and then it went back down. So I don't know. I think that would be the one thing that I would like. I still love the game, but I just wish they would make some changes too.
Why do you think that's a problem in sports in general, especially professional sports? We don't see a lot of minority presence. We see the athletes on the field, but we don't see them in key roles such as ownership, such as general managers. Just like what you said. Why do you think that's still an issue all across the board in all professional sports?
I wish I could answer that question, because if I could, then
we'd all be rich.
Exactly. It's just I can't answer that question, Andre. Maybe Jose has some insight, but I just look and wonder why, and if it'll ever change. I don't know.
What do you think about Jose? What needs to change? What have you seen in your era, and what needs to be changed as far as your years of experience?
I mean, I think the game, and Dallas, you could attest to this. The game's changed completely now. It's all about hitting home runs. And does anybody even know how to bunt a ball anymore? I don't even know. The game's changed completely. Before, you move a guy over bunting the ball. You try to steal a base. These people, it's just a different game. It's just like home runs. That's all they do there. And everybody's taught that, let's dip that back shoulder and just go straight up. There's no more like contact hitters. Like, if you're a contact hitter, you're not making that the team at all. I think you need to be a home run hitter now, and it's completely changed. I don't know what you think, Dallas, on that, but I think that has been a big change that I've seen compared to how we used to play back in the day.
Answer that.
That would have been my second part of the change of the game. Jose, you hit it right on the head. That launch angle crap, it's an expression that they're using to swing. I don't know where that came from. Guys, you have guys 5'7", 5'8", trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. All they're doing is hitting long fly balls, popping up, or striking out. Like you said, there's no more technique in it, or moving the runner, butting the guy over. You just don't see that. In Mexico, you do.
Right.
They still play the game pretty much like we used to play it, but like you said, that's really gone.
Has baseball now become, let's call it what it is, entertainment versus sport?
Well, I mean, I would think that it was always entertainment, but I think entertainment in another way where the front office or whatever, or people want to see more home runs, and what they're seeing is more strikeouts, no more fundamentals in the game, throwing to the bases, hitting the cutoff, man. That's all but eliminated.
No, you're right. I don't see people bunting the ball anymore.
No, they don't.
I mean, remember playing and in school, that was the first thing they taught us how to do.
Exactly.
Bunt the ball, or what you call it, sacrifice. I don't even see sacrifices anymore.
That's the word. They don't sacrifice themselves, but they're so selfish that they want to get him in instead of getting him over, get him in. So you have a guy on second base. I'm not getting that guy over. I'm going to get him in there, rolling over the shortstop or third base, ground ball. Guy still stays there. Now you got one out. Man on second base now takes two more, another hit to get him in. So it's a different game.
How much has money influenced this? Let's be real. How much? I mean, we even seen it in the NFL. It's prevalent. Nobody plays for team anymore. It's how big is my check? I'm going to walk. You would think that there was loyalty, like the Mets. That's a well-known team. You got people like Jeter and so forth, A-Rod, they will leave for the money. There's no loyalty anymore in the sport. Why do you agree or not?
Well, those guys happen to be really good.
They sure.
You're talking about another.
Yeah. That's a whole different
levels up.
Yeah.
So, those guys got the money because they were talented enough, but guys that are playing for the money now will filter out. They won't last because they don't have the talent that those guys have. So the owners are giving them the money. Hell, I'll take it too. You know what I mean? So, to play for the money, obviously you play for your family and all that stuff, but if you don't have the love of the game in your heart, then, shame on you, basically.
Jessica, what you got to say? I don't want to leave you out. What you got to say?
I was surprised about some of the things I heard. Very, very interesting. And I think this happens in probably most careers. And I was just thinking, like, when did the shift happen? What was the situation? Is it a generational thing? Is it something that happened with modern because of technology is now influencing how people are trained and how they're performing? Was it the pandemic? I'm thinking, like, why was there this shift in the way the game is played? You know what I'm saying? And we see this in every industry, right? We've seen the shifts are now happening faster and faster, but I never thought about it in sports and how in a way, the way you portrayed it to me is like it devalued it, put a step down. Let's just get the hits. Let's just get the fast dopamine, and we don't care about the other stuff. The art behind it, we don't want to see it. We don't care anymore. It's just, it doesn't matter. I just want the hit. I just want the dopamine. That's the impression I got. And I think that's a general tendency that's going on in every place.
In life, basically. I mean, everybody's trying to get one more step up than the next guy. So, whichever way you can get it, that's what they're doing. Baseball is not indifferent to that. It's basketball or anything else.
So
they're trying to speed up. They're trying to speed up the game to make it more entertaining for the fans. So. Yeah. That now even pitching, right? You gotta pitch the ball. You can't there used to be pitchers that would take a long time to pitch, and it was on purpose so they could kind of slow down the game and get the guys and the teammates on the other team. They kind of put them to sleep. With the way they would pitch. Now, I mean, you got to throw the ball. You got everything's fast paced because they want to keep the game going, and then now you have this. I don't know if you've seen it. It's that Savannah Banana League or whatever. They're now trying to they have 2-hour game limits. They have all this. They're trying to change the whole game, and they're doing it because they see that baseball is people could be there 4 hours, 5 hours, and so these people are.
When we call that. What I just said, that's entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I got a team and I'm paying these guys millions of dollars, why not start another team and call it the Banana League and pay half the money as long as we can fill seats?
Jose said that banana. I forgot what you call it, but I watched that.
Yeah.
I said,
Savannah.
shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They do backflips.
Yeah, they do backflips. They got a guy on stilts and
Really?
That's
That's
crazy.
baseball. That's baseball.
It's
That's what they call it, entertainment.
The Harlem
You
Globetrotters.
gotta dance.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
You got to know how to dance too. So they have dance routines. Even the umpire needs to know how to dance, and they do these it's wild. It's wild. It's not really baseball. They kind of combining baseball, dance. I mean, it's sometimes funny to watch because you got, like you said, a guy in stilts going out there. Like, what is this? It's crazy.
Hey, Jose,
People.
that's entertainment.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, Jose, how can the viewers reach out to you? What are you doing now? How can the viewers reach out to you for support?
So, I would love to help anybody that's looking to purchase a house, refinance a house, or any multifamily housing. I'm the Money Man T Arez. You can find me there on all social medias, and that's where you can get me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
I appreciate you taking time to come on the show. Definitely a blessing to have you grace my presence one more time. Definitely reach out and support him if you're in the Florida area and you're looking for a house. If you're also looking for apparel, he also does apparels, t-shirts, hats, and garments as well. Dallas, how can the viewers reach out to you? You're local, you're back home in the greatest city in the world.
I'm basically working for my wife. My wife is an entrepreneur. She sells designs hats and jewelries.
Yeah.
Designs by demand at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Her name is Tia Williams, as you know.
Yeah.
And I just go around helping her. I'm just here for her now.
Behind every queen, there's a king.
Absolutely.
Jessica Javens talk. Always a blessing to have you grace the presence of that seed pushing your podcast. Congratulations on a beautiful season 1, season 2. Tell a little bit about your show and how the viewers can reach out to you and continue to support you and your journey.
Absolutely. So my podcast is Jessica Javens Talk. As a life, wellness, dream certified coach, I help people to love their life through changes with the mind and the body and physically with the best superfoods. So you have the full experience with me of transformation or upgrade. And just like it happened to me, now I love encouraging and inspiring and guiding people to do the same. Growth, there's no top or tap or lid. It continues to go, and I am cheering everybody to focus on that and give themselves what they came here to be the best version of themselves.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said before, say it with me, guys. This has been another exciting episode of the Andre
Andre
the Beast Crate
Show.